Hey friends, how is everyone doing? I feel like I'm getting so many questions on my last video. I should probably make like a video response, but I figured I would just go live and kind of clear that up so we could do like a get ready with me slash, answering some questions from my last video. So I think also too, like, I'm gonna get ready super fast, so it's not gonna be like a crazy get ready with me. But I think, most people, and they ask this all the time, and excuse me, both of you. Sorry, the dogs are like being crazy. People ask me this all the time, is they go, well, what's the difference between being a bottle girl and a bartender? Like, why is being a bottle girl harder than being a bartender? And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, okay? So first of all, if you are at home and you're like, oh, I want to be a bottle girl, or I want to, make all this money or do whatever, being a bottle girl is extremely, extremely competitive. Extremely competitive. And it's different from being a bartender, because being a bartender, you can get hired. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay. You can get hired as a bartender if you don't look like a model. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just, if you're a good bartender and you have experience, you could get hired at a club being a bartender. But you're not going to get hired as a bottle girl if you're not a model or if you don't have a very large following on social media. So first of all, that's the difference. Like, that's the first difference, is do you meet the physical appearance requirement of being a bottle girl? So are you essentially what the club thinks is their type, And just because you're not the type at one club, it doesn't mean that you won't be the type at another club. So that's why I always tell you guys to go to a club as a guest and read the room, like really see what kind of girls work there. So for example, my club, it's called Booby Trap. We play trap music, like we're a trap club. So that kind of tells you the kind of girls that my club hires already. There's only like 5 girls at my club, and I'm one of them that like doesn't have a BBL yet, but that's the kind of, bottle girls that they're hiring. They all have their boobs done, they all have BBLs, they have like 200,000 followers, like, you know what I mean? So that's the first part that makes being a bottle girl like very competitive, is do you have physically what they're looking for? Is your body in the shape that they're looking for? Once you get past that, let's say that you get hired because you're pretty enough or whatever, or you have a nice body or you have a lot of followers. Once you get hired as a bottle girl, what makes it more competitive than being a bartender is you're not guaranteed any money. The money that you guys see me leave with on my videos, that's the money that I leave with, Other girls, there's girls that leave with $0. They'll work 8.5 hours and they leave with no money. And this is like the difference between being a bartender and a bottle girl. Is a bartender, when you're standing behind the bar, people come up to you, they get drinks, you're gonna make money. Like, you're gonna make a lot of money, Even if everyone gives you $1, you're gonna make money as a bartender. As a bottle girl, you don't have sections. Not at my club. There are no sections. So if you're not familiar with sections, what that means is that there's an open floor. There's all of these VIP tables, okay? Some clubs run sections, meaning that Anessa, me, are going to have these 3 tables, and Sophia's going to have these 3 tables, and Ashley's going to have these 3 tables. That's a sectioned off club. My club doesn't have that. My club is open floor. So what makes it very competitive being a bottle girl is you could not get any tables all night. If I walk faster than you, if I sell more than you, if I have regulars and you don't have regulars, I could walk and I can talk to every table if I want, and now I just mop the whole floor, So that's what makes being a bottle girl really competitive, is there's 20 bottle girls on, there's 20 waitresses on. Some clubs have 30, the night shifts, like some clubs have 60 girls on, okay? So if you have 20 girls on and you only have, let's say you have 20 girls on and your club only has 10 VIP tables, my club has like 50 VIP tables, so they put like 60 girls on. Let's say that I know everyone there and you don't know everyone, and I go and I talk to everyone and I go and I serve everyone. I just cleaned that whole section for as long as they're sitting at that table. So you could stand there serving no one because that's my table. So that's what makes it also like very different from being a bartender. That's why it's a little bit more competitive. Another reason why being a bottle girl is more competitive than being a bartender is it's a lot easier to sell someone a $15 drink at the bar than to sell somebody a $1,500 bottle that they could buy for $80 at the store. So being a bottle girl is more than being pretty and having a nice body and having Instagram followers. It's, can you sell? Like, can you sell bottles? Have you ever tried to sell somebody a bottle that costs $1,000 that they can buy for $80 at the store or $40 at the store? That's a whole other level of finesse. That's a whole other level of salesmanship. That's a whole other level of talent. And then on top of that, they're paying a 20% gratuity on top of the price of the bottle. Some clubs charge for the table as well. So the table, buying the table is separate than buying the bottle. So once you've convinced them to buy a $1,000 bottle, now you have to convince them to buy a $2,000 table to sit at. Like, this is a whole other level of just salesmanship and finesse. So that's why it's way easier to be a bartender. That's why it's not as competitive. So it's like, you know, I think a lot of people wake up and they see these girls on Instagram, you know, making $5,000 a week, $10,000 a week, being bottle girls, and they go, you know, I could be a bottle girl. Can you though? Like, I'm not saying that to like be in a rude way. It's like, do you have a large following on social media? Are you a published model? Have you been in any magazines? Have you been in any press, like online? Do people know who you are? And the reason why you need to have a following to be a bottle girl is because it's up to you to sell bottles. That's what makes it more competitive than being a bartender. That's why I tell everyone to be a bartender if you can, because anybody can be trained to be a bartender, but not everyone can have that type of following. So when you're a bottle girl, the club, you don't just come into work and the club doesn't just go, hey, here's a list of people that are buying bottles today and we're going to give you all the money. No, that doesn't happen. The person that sells the table is the person that gets the gratuity on that table. So if there's a $1,000 bottle, you get $200 from that bottle, not including the price of the table, right? So if you don't sell that and the club sells it for you, the club keeps that tip. It's not you. You don't get that. It's whoever sells it. So that's another thing that makes it like really competitive being a bottle girl, is because when people come in, it's up to you to sell tables that night. If you don't have anybody coming into work, if you don't know people, if you don't have a list, if you can't sell, then you're not going to have tables. And if you don't have tables, you're literally going to leave with $0. You're going to work 8-9 hours and you're going to leave with no money, you know? So that's why being a bartender is way more competitive. I think a lot of people are under the assumption that the club just gives you VIPs, that the club's like, hey, we have these VIPs coming in. And that does happen. That happens like very often, where the club will tell you that they have a VIP coming in, but if the club sold them a bottle or the promoter sells them a bottle, whoever is bringing these VIPs in, they're the people getting the money, not you. So now you're just serving them for free. You know what I mean? Like, you're literally working for free. So that's kind of how that works with that. So no, being a bottle girl is not easy. You literally fight for your life every night. Like, it's very ruthless. So if you have like very thin skin, or you're not outgoing, or you can't sell anything, you're not going to make any money as a bottle girl. You might even get fired. But being, like I said, being a bartender, you're going to be guaranteed money because people come to the bar. Also, too, the bottle girls and the servers tip out the bartenders. So you're guaranteed money that way. You're not going to make as much money as the bottle girls being a bartender. You might make like $1,000, $800 if you're a good bartender. If you're a bad bartender, you'll make like $300 at the club. But the bottle girls are making $5,000, $10,000. Like, they make crazy money, you know? So your money depends on you and nobody else. Nobody's there to give you free money. It's no free rides. You could probably get away for 3 weeks working at a club without selling any bottles before they fire you. At week 3, they're just going to be like, hey, you're not selling bottles, like, you need to go. So that's why they hire that's why they hire models. That's why they hire Instagram models, like these girls with 100,000 followers, 50,000 followers, because people want to come in and meet them. People want to come in and hang out with them, and they can sell tables. So, you know, that's why it can be kind of discouraging if you're not, you don't have a very large social media presence to be like, I want to be a bottle girl. But that doesn't mean that you can't be a bartender. And like I said too, the physical appearance requirements are way different for bartenders than they are for bottle girls. So for example, when I do bottle service, we all have to wear matching uniforms on those days, right? You guys, these uniforms are so small. I think the biggest size that they make on these uniforms is like a size 6. Like, they're really, really small, okay? So when you're auditioning to be a bottle girl, so like when I went to my club and I interviewed to be a bottle girl, and I got hired, after they hired me, they said, first we need you to try on a uniform. So I tried on a uniform, I had to show them how I looked in it, and then I got the final okay. But it's like, that's why physical, you know, requirements are the way that they are. You also have to be okay wearing outfits that the dancers are wearing, you know what I mean? Or you have to be okay wearing outfits that, you know, you're in a thong bottom and you're in a bikini top, or maybe you just have like little pasties on and like this skinny little thing. So it's like, if you're not comfortable wearing these types of outfits, again, a bottle girl is not for you. Other things about the bottle girls, if you guys know, I got COVID like a month ago. I recovered from it, but I still have a cough. So, another thing about being a bottle girl is every day, you know, people see bottle girls and they're always like out in the club, right? Like when they're not working. They go, oh, this girl's out in the club. She parties all the time, whatever, whatever. No, these girls are out networking. That's why you see bottle girls out on their days off, that they're in different clubs, because they're meeting people to bring in for next weekend. So if you bring in, let's say that you book a bunch of tables, right, 1 week, and all your friends come out and everyone buys a bottle and everyone turns up, or you meet people out, that's great, but all you did was buy yourself 1 week at the club, okay? You gotta fight to live next week. And so that's what makes being a bottle girl very competitive as well, is think about when you're trying to round up all your friends to go out, right? Like, think about when you want to go out with your friends to a dinner and you tell everyone Friday at 8, okay? Think about what that's like, trying to round everyone up. Now imagine doing it 4 days a week to people you don't know, you're texting all the time, and you're trying to sell them a table to come out. Like, your job literally depends on it. Your life literally depends on it. So that's why this industry is like very cutthroat. That's why a lot of people, they don't make it as a bottle girl. And, you know, it's not just dancing around, holding lights, like looking pretty, making thousands of dollars. It's very hard to sell somebody a $1,000 bottle, let alone sell them 2 bottles, let alone do it to 10 other tables. You know, everyone that comes into the club doesn't want to buy a bottle. You could have a packed club, people standing elbow to elbow, you know, whatever, and you could have an empty VIP section. That happens all the time. And if you have an empty VIP section, you know, some nights your manager is going to be like, okay, I understand, like, people are, you know, hanging onto their money because of Christmas, you know, like, they can understand that. But what your manager is not going to understand is why you have had no sections that you've sold for a whole week. And that's when you get fired. So again, like, it takes a very special level of salesmanship. It takes a level of finesse. It takes knowing how to talk to people. Being pretty is not going to guarantee you tables, because you have to remember, you're beautiful, but you're standing with 20 other beautiful girls. And on top of that, you're standing right next to girls that are like Instagram famous. And why people may say like, oh, being Instagram famous isn't real. People come out to the clubs because they want to meet these girls, because they follow them on Instagram and they want to see them in person. So now you're competing against their whole following. You're competing against, you know, these girls that have the same talent you do. They're beautiful like you are, and they know everybody. So that's just kind of, I guess, like the pros and cons, or the bartender versus bottle girl. But when I show you guys like money I make, that's money that I made. The girl next to me, she could have made 5 times what I made. She could have made nothing. I know that, you know, I worked on Friday and 3 girls went home with $0, literally $0. And that's just like what happens. So nobody's guaranteed money. Everyone makes a different rate. Some girls, they kill it, you know, they're making $5,000 a week, $10,000 a week. Some girls make $1,000 a week. So, and the low girls are the girls that are going to get fired. The low girls are the girls that are going to get dropped off, you know? So it's just like, it's a lot different. It's not like an easy thing, and especially like being in Miami out here, everybody is beautiful, everybody is somebody, and it's a lot different. I don't know, I can't speak for bottle service like in the like the middle of the country, but like coming from LA, it's also like super competitive. So when I was in LA, that was probably like the most ruthless I've ever seen. I think Miami's a little bit easier to be a bottle girl when you're a Latina like I am. In LA, I think it's a lot harder. They just have a different demographic. So that's that. Let me answer some of these questions. What do you say to sell a table? Is there a script? No, there's literally no script. It's all the finesse. There's no script. Like, no one can help you. Either you have it or you don't. I wish that I could like be helpful, but that's just kind of what it is. Like, either you can sell a bottle or you can't. It's about being aware. It's about being fast. So for example, when I say aware, is you're gonna see girls, like bottle girls in the club, and they're just like texting on their phones, like talking to their friends, like, you know, not paying attention. If you're texting on your phone and 4 guys walk into the club and I see them and I beeline for them and you didn't see them walk in because you're texting on the phone, you already missed out on that potential sale. So you need to be aware. You need to not be on your phone all the time. You need to have your phone away. It's about the way that you talk to people. Like, can you make people feel comfortable? Can you make people feel like they want to hang out and kick it with you? Why should they buy a bottle from you and not the 19 other girls here? What are you going to do for them that's different than everything else, you know? So it's all about the way that you approach them. It's about the way that you sell it. You can't just be like, oh, did you guys want to get a bottle tonight? It's $1,000. They're going to be like, no. They're gonna be like, why would I want to pay $1,000? We're just here to hang out for a little bit, you know? It's a little bit easier for me to sell bottles at my club because we do have celebrities that come in almost daily. So like Quavo was just at our club on Thursday. Roddy Ricch was there yesterday. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit easier for me because I'm like, hey, like Rick Ross was there last weekend. I'm like, hey, you know, Quavo's gonna be here tonight. Why don't you buy a bottle? Let me put you in a section. You're not gonna be getting bumped all night. You don't have to worry about being elbowed. You can comfortably watch the performance. You can be right there and you can be comfortable with your friends. You don't have to worry about people stepping on you, spilling drinks on your shoes. Like, you guys look really nice tonight. You know, that's how I kind of approach selling bottles is I tell them that they can watch the performance and enjoy it, but there is no script. Also too, when it comes to selling a bottle, that's great, but a bottle doesn't go that far when you have 6 people there. So again, it's just like a level of salesmanship, you know, to sell a second bottle or even a third bottle to that same group. So it's just all about how you sell it, you know, and either you can sell or you can't, and that'll be very apparent within like your first 2 weeks of being a bottle girl. So it's, like I said, it's more than just being a pretty face and being in shape and all of this stuff. Did I end up working at Liv? So it wasn't Liv, it was 11 that I was offered a job at. And actually it was a conflict of interest, me working at Liv and me working at Booby Trap. So the owners at Booby Trap told me that I couldn't work both, and I make more money at Booby Trap, and I'm also the lead of the bottle girls and the bartenders over there. I'm the head over there, so I didn't like want to like fuck up my bag. So I said that I would not be working at Liv. So I'm just gonna be at Booby Trap, which some clubs are like that. It's not necessarily fair, but I understand like where they're coming from. That's another thing too. If you're a bottle girl or a bartender at a big club, they could tell you that you're not allowed to work at any other clubs, that they don't want you to work there because it's a conflict of interest. And so that's kind of like what happened to me, you know, like you can't work at 11 and work at my club. So another thing, like that kind of sucks, you know? So you have to, if you're only allowed to work at one club, you really need to be out there selling, because you're only going to make money as long as the club is making money. That's the only time you're going to make money as a bottle girl. You're not going to ever make money and then the club won't make money. So you know what I mean? So you're literally your life depends on how much money you can make for the club. If you make the club $10,000 and you get 20% of that, that's $2,000 that you leave with, you know? If you make the club $500, you're only getting 20% of that. So you're getting $100, and it's like, who wants to make $100? Who wants to make $200? Like, that's not, you know what I mean? You go to a club and you deal with drunk people for 8 hours, and you're standing on your feet and you're running around and dealing with all the shit and talking to people. Like, you're not trying to make $200, you're trying to make 1,000, you know, 2,000, but 1,000 minimum. And the only way that you're going to do that is by selling bottles, because bottles are expensive and they have an automatic 20% gratuity. So it's about, you know, being in that right mentality too. And it's about not being afraid to go for customers, because when you don't have assigned sections, like you don't have assigned tables and it's an open floor like my club, and you're not guaranteed a table, you only get whatever table you're going to talk to. When you don't have these assigned sections, you can't be scared that, I don't know, Ashley is your friend or Miranda's your friend, so they haven't had any tables, you want to let them have tables. Like, you could still be friends with the girls and still pay your bills, you know what I mean? So you got to be like able to go for it, and you have to be willing to like kind of be ruthless. Like, that's the only way you're going to make big money in the club, and it's nothing personal, it's business, and all the girls know this, you know, and we all still talk and hang out, and when we see each other, we're like, hey girl, you look so cute, you know, whatever. But the minute we walk on the floor, we know, like, yo, I have bills I have to pay. I came here to make money. I didn't come here to hang out, to talk to my girlfriend and stand in the corner and be worried that I'm taking all the tables, you know? So it's just like, that's kind of what's going on. Let me make, Jizzy makes 10K a day. LOL, she's different. So Jizzy has a large following, Jizzy Doll, if you guys don't know, and she goes to different strip clubs and she hosts, and that's why they allow her to come. I'm going to tell you guys right now, she's the worst bartender I've ever seen in my life, but she has a lot of following, so that's why they bring her to the club, and that's why she makes a lot of money. And that's not even trying to like talk shit. I think she's super beautiful and she knows how to finesse people, but she is a really bad bartender, like really bad. But they bring her to the club because of her following. So that's kind of that trade that you need to have. So if you're not a, how do I say it? Like, if the wheel's spinning in your brain, but the hamster's not running, you know what I mean? If you're like not all there, you better have a very large following, like 200,000 followers to get hired at a club. That's the only time that they're going to allow you to kind of be like an airhead, and then they're still going to hire you, you know? But if you don't have a large following, then you're going to have some type of credentials to do bottle service. So let me scroll down here and kind of read these. Try to read these. I'm not saying that in Miami, Latina girls are the only girls that makes money. That's not, I never said that. I said that in Miami, it's way easier to get hired as a Latina and make money, because in LA, which is where I come from, I was in the industry for 10 years in LA. As a Latina, you're not getting hired. Like, it's just not going to happen. The demographic in LA and for the club scenes, for the bottle girls, is the Kendall Jenner types. You need to be very tall, you need to be extremely skinny, and you need to be white or look white. That's just the LA demographic. So no, I'm not saying that Latinas are the only people that make money in Miami. I'm saying if you're a Latina, you have a way better chance of getting hired in Miami than you do somewhere like LA. That's just what it is. Like, that's just how it is over there. They hire the aspiring actresses. All the bottle girls are like, oh, I'm an aspiring actress in LA. They're all like 5'10". They probably weigh like 120 pounds. And they look like Kendall Jenner. So that's just what that is. But no, I'm not saying that. Let me scroll down here. Let me see. I'm trying to read these here. Okay, scroll down. I think I answered like all of those. What do I think the Vegas demographic is for bottle girls? The Vegas demographic is going to be, okay, so what makes Vegas different from every other scene? At LA or in Miami or in New York, you could go and apply year round to be a bottle girl. If they have an open position, you could apply. Like, it doesn't matter the time of the month. In Vegas, they have casting season, so they only hire once a year, and they host it. And I believe that happens around, like, it could be happening right now, or it was November or December, and they're hiring for July, like the pool seasons and stuff. So they only do castings once a year. It's not open call. So that's what makes Vegas different. So you need to follow the club that you want to work at in Vegas, and you need to find out when they're having a casting call. Girls fly from all over the United States to go to a casting season in Vegas. It's a 3-day thing, so it'll be like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you're going to be there with girls from all over the United States. And basically how it works is day one, it's bikini day, so all you do is you walk in your bikini past a panel. There will be like 10 people sitting at a table, maybe 15. All you do is walk in your bikini. You have a number. You don't even talk to anyone yet. This is just day one, and they tell you yes or no right away. So you'll get dismissed right on day one if they don't like what they see in the bikini or how you look or how you walk or whatever. Day two, that's when they actually start narrowing it down, and they actually start talking to people and ask you, do you have bottle service experience? Like, how long have you been working in bottle service? They actually see what your background is. Day three, that's when they start narrowing it down to like top 20. And then from there, it's just kind of survival of the fittest. But go follow the club that you want to work at, and like Hakkasan or, you know, whatever, Wet Republic, and see when their casting season is. You don't have to be invited to apply. You could just show up, but you do need to read the requirements of what they want. So they could tell you that you have to be in a blue bikini or a pink bikini, or I don't know, like their requirements are all different. So that's what makes Vegas different, is they only hire once a year. It's not all year. So let me scroll up here. Try to read these. I'm gonna clean up my brows real quick because they look like super crazy. Yes, Vegas is definitely more diverse, but the demographic is the like pageant girls. So all the girls that work bottle service in Vegas, they're like beauty queens, like pageant girls. We all know like what a pageant girl looks like, you know what I mean? You're not going to see girls working in Vegas with like big fake boobs and big BBLs like you're going to see out here in Miami. In Vegas, it's going to be like they're a beauty queen, they're like a Miss Tropicana, they're a Hooters pageant girl. Those are the girls that work in Vegas. When are we going to get an eyeshadow tutorial? Yes, I have it. Yes, they're very athletic. I agree with that. Vegas girls are extremely athletic, so their bodies are a little bit different than like the curves that you would see in New York or in Miami. And they're more fit than the girls you're going to see in LA. So it's all about like knowing your demographic, knowing what you are and what you're not. And I think one thing to remember when trying to get into this industry is you're going to get 100 no's before you get one yes, and don't let that discourage you. So, you know what I mean? If one club tells you no, or even 10 clubs tell you no, don't get discouraged. Try a club where you meet the demographic, or be very realistic about what the club is looking for. And that's just kind of what that is. So, like, for example, you know, back in the day when they would do the Victoria's Secret fashion show, right? We all can look at those women. So, like, for example, you could be very beautiful, but, you know, you could watch a Victoria's Secret fashion show and you could know that they're not going to cast you to walk in the Victoria's Secret fashion show. That's kind of that same vibe with the club. Like, you need to know, like, can you actually work there? Like, do you look like the other girls, you know? And if you don't look like the other girls, then where can you go from there? But all right, guys, I was gonna do a full get ready with me, but I didn't realize it was already 11 o'clock and I'm supposed to go to lunch with my husband. Like, we have a reservation, so I kind of need to hurry this up. But I hope that I helped you guys understand the difference between a bartender and a bottle girl, and how they're different and how the requirements are and what's easier to do. I'll probably make like a video. I'll probably make like a TikTok though. I think like a TikTok will be easier so like everyone could watch it. But I hope that you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you later. I'm gonna go get ready so I can finish this. All right, bye guys.